Mueller's team may think it is done. Democrats have Robert Mueller's former prosecutors are trying to move on. Congressional It's the latest twist for the special counsel's attorneys who spent nearly 2 years working on one of the most scrutinized investigations in American history and now are resurfacing at major law firms, touting their work on the Russia probe. Some are even Democrats struggling to find witnesses to guide their probes of Donald Trump say they've noticed the recent uptick in activity and they want in. These are, after all, the same attorneys who personally interviewed the president's aides and a wide cast of characters connected to Moscow's election interference campaign. They worked closest. We should hear from Bob Mueller as well as the senior members of his team to bring to life the findings in their report, said New York Republic. Hakeem Jeffries, under the Joint House Judiciary and Intelligence Committee plan unveiled Tuesday night, an unspecified number of the special counsel's senior deputies are expected to accompany their former boss and testify in closed session when Mueller appears next month. Intelligence Committee Democrats also haven't precluded bringing the former Mueller lawyers back for additional rounds. I think that's likely to happen after Mueller testifies, said Rhode Island Republic. David Chichilin, still, Chichilin and other Judiciary Committee Democrats said they can't help but notice the public commentary and newspaper interviews that members of Mueller's team have recently granted as they transition into their new private sector jobs. Most eyebrow raised. I hope he's not trying to hold off on going public with any secrets so that he can have a good book rollout, said Georgia Republic. Hank Johnson, the former members of Mueller's team all could offer Democrats tantalizing details from their own investigation, not to mention possible legislative fixes, hearing ideas about election security and advice on how a special counsel's office should function. Access to them may. The list of top targets includes Andrew Goldstein, a former prosecutor who this week announced his new position working from Washington, D.C. and New York at the Cooley law firm. His revamped online. Goldstein is not the only Mueller team member promoting a workload that lawmakers want to know more about. Jeannie Rhee Greg Andres, another former Mueller lawyer, returned to his old job at a New York law firm. His online resume. And then there's Weissman, who returned to New York University Law School earlier this year after working on some of the most publicized aspects of the special counsel probe, including the prosecution of Manafort and his deputy, Rick Gates. Another Mueller team member exiting government is Michael Dreeben, who played a key role defending Mueller's initial appointment against legal challenges. Dreeben last week. This group may be largely anonymous to the broader public, but their role in the controversial probe has brought them more attention than most government attorneys could ever imagine. Trump repeated, the Russia probe staffers continue to be harassed on a daily basis, said Brandon Van Grack, a DOJ attorney who worked on the probe and continues to handle the active cases in court, during a court appearance on Monday. It's not a hypothetical, Van Grack told the federal judge overseeing a hearing in ex-Trump National Security Advisor Michael Flynn's case. To date, these Mueller deputies have not been called to Capitol Hill. But after their so far, the Mueller alumni have dodged questions about testifying. It's premature to even consider that, Goldstein told the Washington Post. Van Grack declined. Their reluctance may only be a matter of time. I suspect they will. The ex-Mueller prosecutors who have spoken publicly since leaving their jobs have tried to avoid making headlines, giving media interviews only to select outlets and avoiding comment that provides any substantive detail looking back on their Russia probe efforts. Andres, for example, repeatedly declined to discuss his work with Mueller when he gave an interview to the New York Times about his new job at Davis Polk & Wardwell. Rhee simply bloomed. Speaking to about his new job, Goldstein called his Mueller work the privilege of a lifetime, but otherwise stuck to the special counsel's script. I do not believe several former Mueller team members are still in government. Van Grack, now another former Mueller aide, Zainab Ahmed, has been expected back with the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Eastern District of New York, though a spokesman there said she's not yet returned to her post. And Peter Carr, From a pure legal standpoint, neither the Justice Department nor the White House should expect to be able to stop lawmakers from speaking with the senior former members of Mueller's staff, said Will Moschella, who ran DOJ's Congressional Affairs Office during the George W. Bush administration. That goes for the ex, but the further down the chain you get, the less likely it is they'll testify, he said. While not all of the former Mueller members are expected to get congressional invitations, they are among the few witnesses, other than Mueller, who could offer new and important things to say in a public setting, said Ted Callow, a former Democratic general counsel to the House Judiciary Committee. I think it's good to get Mueller to say as much as he has to say, in his own voice, rather than subordinates, he added. If they're willing to
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park, pot.